Hello friends and welcome. It's nice to be with you again. Today we are going to be talking about a little bit about the philosophical underpinnings of Viktor Frankl's logotherapy. And while of course our presentation and the time that we have for it is nearly not enough to cover a very detailed and thorough background behind Viktor Frankl's logotherapy, I wish just to provide a little nutshell of the basic principles which guided the definition of logotherapy and which helped Viktor Frankl to delineate his theories as a holistic orientation to psychotherapy. Why is this important to us? Well, it is because whenever we practice, we are asked many times this question, according to which principles do you practice? What is it that you really believe? And even without asking, of course, what we believe is influencing our attitudes, influencing our thoughts, influencing our suggestions, influencing our questions, influencing our basic interactions with our clients or patients. So it's very important that we are understanding of our philosophical beliefs, of our philosophical convictions, and our theoretical knowledge of Viktor Frankl's logotherapy in this case, and to see how it fits with the rest of philosophical understanding and philosophical theories. So we are going to try to nestle Viktor Frankl's logotherapy within a larger view of what is a human being and what is the world. This question, now just in this nutshell presentation, we'll say this question has been with humankind since the dawn of history. See, ever since we call ourselves human, and that's when being human started, is when we became aware, consciously aware, that we are in a way different because we can different from the rest of creation in that sense that we have been given conscience and reason and a capacity of our brain that through which now our dimension of spirit could express itself. So a different dimension, a different ability emerged in humankind, and that was for self-reflection and self-questioning and self-distancing, taking ourselves back from the environment and reflecting at it. So asking ourselves crucial questions which no other creation in the universe asks themselves. Who are we? What is our purpose? Where are we going? So these are fundamental human questions to which from the dawn of humankind there have been many different kinds of answers. According to some, and now we are not going to go into extreme details, but you see just a little bit to illustrate what were the crucial answers. So according to some, and this was in ancient Greece, 300 years before Christ, some philosophers were convinced that through the senses we can gain experience of our reality. And therefore, some people, some philosophers have taken this further and further, said, well, let us then try to avoid any pain and suffering, and that orientation went into extreme hedonism. There was another orientation, a second orientation, which were, for example, the skeptics. It again originated in ancient Greece, and the ancient Greece, according to this philosophy, believed that, well, through the senses we will never gain an appropriate understanding of our world. We are always going to be wrong in some ways. So the best is to withdraw, to question everything, and never take a definite stance, because that can only lead to some kind of error or mistake of judgment. So the best is to withdraw, never give a definite answer. So this could be the skeptics. And there could be another orientation according to which, well, a pragmatic way of living is the best, according to the Stoics, just to handle what circumstances we need to face, but to otherwise try to detach ourselves from the world. So it could lead to a kind of detachment, a kind of not participating with that much with the flow of life, with the rest of life as we know it. Yet the question remains, who are you? What do you believe about yourself? Which way do you want to go? And these questions, as we have seen from the lives of many, many people, have resulted in many different answers, which then led to different ways of approaching not only doing science, but practice and living. My mentor, Dr. Burns, once said, look first at the life of the theorist and see if they know how to live. And if you find it inspirational, for you personally, answering some of your questions, for you personally acceptable, then you can rest assured you can embrace that theory. And I do have to say from my personal experience, of course, I do find Viktor Frankl's orientation an inspiring theory. And of course that goes back to his life. So our lives is very delicately intertwined with our philosophical beliefs. Remember just this example from the life of the young Viktor Frankl. When Viktor Frankl was in school, one time his teacher said, well, you know, life is just a slow oxidation process, and we function like a machine. It's just a combustion engine. We live, we use up all our energies, and at the end, what is left dies, and that's the end of us. The young Viktor Frankl put his hand up, he jumped up and said, I disagree with this. I think there must be more to life. There must be more. There must be some meaning to life. And Viktor Frankl, from that day on, had this firm determination, maybe not even from that day on, maybe from way before. Viktor Frankl had this firm determination to dedicate the rest of his life to helping others find meaning in their lives, as he was also trying to live his life as meaningfully as he could possibly do. And with that, he gave us an inspiration. Now, going back to the philosophy and the philosophical background of logotherapy, there were those who then took these philosophical answers and then they tried to reduce who and what we think about ourselves into one or two or a three-dimensional or a four-dimensional aspect of reality, and to consider us along these perspectives, and then to say that that perspective is the only valid one. And this led to an orientation that is called reductionism. According to reductionism, which is prevalent in the sciences, for example, it's prevalent in psychology, that is called psychologism. They are nothing but, for example, an organism that is a physiological organism functioning according to input and output. Well, Viktor Frankl proved that it's not just as simple as an input and then an output. In between, there is a decision. There is an element of choice in how we choose to respond to our circumstances. So Viktor Frankl said that the variety of perspectives don't take away from the possibility of one reality. It is not true that we cannot gain a picture from our reality, and therefore we either should deny the possibility of ever gaining a good understanding of purpose or meaning in our lives, or and it is not true that if we don't manage to integrate all this knowledge, then we should withdraw from pursuing meaning in life. No, he said, the variety of perspectives adds to the richness of the experience, adds to the richness of reality, our understanding of reality. So he said the variety of perspectives does not deny the reality itself. In fact, it supports that there is an objective reality. And Viktor Frankl set forth logos and meaning as an objective reality, which is a transpersonal, trans-subjective reality which stands in relation to the person. Now, what does this mean? Meaning stems from the word logos. Logos is, of course, not a word that Viktor Frankl coined. Logos is not a word that Viktor Frankl came up with. It has been in existence for hundreds, thousands of years ago. And it comes even from ancient Greece. And in John chapter 1, we were referring to the first verse of John's Gospel, for example, in the New Testament, that says, in the beginning was God. In the beginning was the Word. It says exactly, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, the word in the original Greek translation was logos. We know that logos can be translated as the word, or meaning, or reason. And this is the purpose of our existence, to find out, to sniff out, so to speak, with help from our conscience, the purpose, the reason for our existence. Now, I mentioned in the beginning that Viktor Frankl's logotherapy is a holistic theory. What does it mean, holistic? Holistic means that something is built up from many components, and one takes into account all those components, and that the sum is greater than the whole is greater than just the sum of the components. So the whole and the meaning of the whole must be greater than the sum of its components. This is how Viktor Frankl's answered then the second question of who we are. Viktor Frankl says, and here I'm using a little prism as an illustration. We have a body, which is the physical dimension. We have a mind, and we also have a spirit. We could illustrate it this way. A body, mind, and we have a spirit. You see the third dimension of our existence. Spirit is always what is more, pointing up, pointing toward something more. And so therefore, Viktor Frankl's logotherapy is a holistic theory. It considers human beings in their totality as a whole composed of body, mind, and spirit. While we have a body and we have a mind, we live in spirit. We are spirit as we actualize meaning, as we perceive it through our conscience. Now, conscience, of course, is a resource of the human spirit, and that would be part of another presentation to illustrate. This is just to say that this little prism can be a very helpful tool for conceptualizing of us as three-dimensional, of a unity of body, mind, and spirit. And that Viktor Frankl therefore conceptualized of us as wholes and the universe as a whole that has a purpose, that has a meaning in it. Viktor Frankl said that we could never totally philosophically argue for or against a particular orientation in philosophy. Because how it is that the arguments for or against always balance each other out. And what we have to do is to make an existential decision of what are the beliefs that we hold dear, what are the beliefs that we want our lives to be guided by, and then to make this leap of faith and put the whole of our existence on that side of as if it was like a balance beam. And that's how we will make that side weigh more than the other. Whereas I attempted to give a short illustration of the philosophical backgrounds and the reality, the relevance of the philosophical background of Viktor Frankl's logotherapy, I'm very much aware of it, and it's just a little nutshell capturing of his major ideas. I want to be very thankful for being with me and for following my talk. And as the months pass, maybe we would have the opportunity to outline each of the tenets in a bit more detail and to clarify some of the fine aspects and, of course, the applications of Viktor Frankl's logotherapy also as an orientation of philosophy in our practice and in our everyday lives. Thank you very much for listening. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.